Good evening, I'm Jennifer Griswold. It's been more than 100 days since flooding affected this region. 2 months ago, we brought you a story about communities in Atchison County, Missouri, and how they've dealt with the flooding. Atchison County is home to more than 5 of the largest fireworks stores in the state. Reporter Phil Bergman drove down to see how the flooding is affecting sales.
This is our prize wheel, and we have lots of super cool prizes that you can win.
Stacy Martin is all fun and games when it comes to fireworks.
What you can see in your backyard, you will think you're at the baseball diamond.
The last 20 years, she and her husband have owned Watson Fireworks.
Fireworks capital of the Missouri.
Stacy showed me around her store, and for being 1 week before the 4th of July, the fireworks shop was quite quiet.
I fully expect that some of our longtime customers will be back this weekend, but yeah, it's very slow right now.
In March, flooding came to northwest Missouri.
With all the other breaks that happened up north, it just had nowhere to go but just to follow the stream and come this direction.
The house stayed dry, but the warehouse flooded 3 inches deep.
We were rushing to move all of our firework trailers up to higher ground. There was a mad rush to get extra people in here and move the fireworks out.
Watson Fireworks opened up for fireworks season on May 21st. 9 days later, they shut their doors and didn't reopen until June 19th. Profits are 50% lower than this time last year.
Typically, the entire parking lot is full, and I have a lot more employees working. As a matter of fact, yesterday I had to send a few home just because there was nothing going on.
And one of the biggest obstacles the Martin families face this year is the closure of I-29. With the interstate being shut down for a lot of the business season, profits have severely taken a hit.
Well, if you can't have customers getting here, then you're just basically just sunk. So some people just, think it's not worth it. So we've lost a lot.
The store is open for 1 more week. With I-29 back up and running, there's still time for a late sales push. No matter what, the Martin family will be back selling fireworks in 2020.
I think that, we will be able to hang in there. We're determined. And so, yeah, we'll be back next year for sure. Probably bigger and better than before, hopefully.
Reporting Watson, Missouri, Phil Bergman, 3 News Now.
Stacy Martin said that anything they don't sell this year, they're planning on saving for next year. She says they are counting heavily on a 4th of July rush. And Phil joins me now to talk a little more about his trip down there. And you've been covering this. We've been covering this since March. As you drove down today, what changes have you seen along I-29?
The flooding is still clearly there, but the water looks to be receding a little.
Okay.
Not a lot, but a little, which is a good step in the right direction. The further south you go, by where the BNSF Railway has been having issues in Percival, Iowa, that's where you can still see a lot of the water because that water has been trapped by the trains for so long. But especially north of that Percival line at about exit 10 on I-29 is where you can see the flooding starting to get a little better.
What about the other businesses in the area? Obviously, there are other people whose livelihoods depend on people traveling this area.
I mean, that was one of the biggest things I realized while going down to Watson and talking to Watson Fireworks is, yes, the flooding affected them, but having that highway closed the second time for that 19-20 day period in between May and then it just got done a week or two ago really affected them because they rely on this I-29 traffic that goes from Kansas City up to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And by having it rerouted around to Maryville, Missouri, really affected a lot of these businesses, such as the firework industry.
I remember you were telling us about this a little while ago, and we all thought it was so interesting because there are effects of the floods that you might not think about. Are there any other things like that that you just don't immediately think about? You think about people losing their homes and things like that, but fireworks sales, not something you think about.
Yeah, fireworks sales is the biggest one because Atchison County, Missouri is, as they say, the fireworks capital of Missouri. You can buy your bottle rockets down there. You can buy a lot of your fireworks. And a lot of these people are farmers, and their farms have now been affected by the flooding. So this is a secondary line of profits for them, if not a primary line of profits. And now this has been really affected by that. And also just the commuting in this area with I-29 being shut down, and especially since Highway 136 going to Brownville, Nebraska shut down, these people have been commuting sometimes an hour plus to work when it should have been a 5-minute drive. So there's a lot of these little things with the flooding you don't think about always.
Right, their day-to-day life just changing. Phil, thanks so much for your insight. Nice chatting with you once again. We wish them all the best as they move forward.